A uniformed sergeant in the front row pressed cold metal into Elvis's palm. His dog tags from a friend who never came home. Elvis froze under the lights at the Las Vegas Hilton, November 14, 1976. Then he did something no star does mid-show, and 20,000 people couldn't stop crying. Stay, because what Elvis did with those tags turned a concert into a memorial and a lifeline. Las Vegas Hilton, November 14, 1976. The showroom hums like a living thing. Spotlights bloom over a sea of sequins and cigarette haze. The smell of bourbon and hairspray drifts through the air. 20,000 hearts move to one pulse, the expectation of Elvis Presley walking on stage. A ripple starts near the wings as Joe Esposito, his longtime road manager, checks his watch. 8:41 p.m., he mouths. James Burton's fingers rest on the frets, ready for the first blast of Burning Love. In the front row, waitresses clear the last glasses. The clink of ice fades under the roar that begins even before the curtain lifts. Then he appears, white jumpsuit catching every light, rhinestones like tiny mirrors. For a second he stands still, chin down, the grin almost shy. Then the crowd detonates. Shrieks, whistles, a wave of flashbulbs. He raises a hand. Good evening, Las Vegas. The room hushes like a congregation after a prayer. Setlist cards lie taped at his boots. Burning Love, Hound Dog, My Way, and penciled beneath a softer line, Love Me Tender. That one always sits different. Less show, more heart. Back in row a man stands out from the sparkle and suits. Army greens, short hair cropped tight. The patch on his sleeve reads U.S. Army. Sergeant Jacob Red Morales. Fresh home, skin still sunburnt from a place his family doesn't talk about. In his pocket, a folded envelope and a thin silver chain holding two tags that aren't his. He's not on a mission tonight. He's here to keep a promise. Elvis launches into Burning Love. The horns punch, the drums drive. The floor shakes under dancing shoes and clapping hands. But Red doesn't move. He stares at the stage, thumb rubbing the raised letters on the metal. Hail, Thomas E. When the tempo eases and the crowd catches breath, Red leans forward. Sweat beads on his forehead, though the air is cold. Elvis glances across the front rows between songs. Maybe it's instinct, or maybe he just feels eyes that won't let go. Their gazes meet for half a beat, enough for Elvis to sense something heavy in that soldier's stare. He turns to the band. Love Me Tender, he says quietly. The musicians shift keys. A warm hush settles, softer than velvet. Couples hold hands. The bartender stops mid-pour. As the first gentle notes ring out, the soldier rises. Slowly, carefully, like someone standing in church. The people beside him glance up, puzzled. He's holding something small in his fist. Metal catches the light. The audience doesn't yet understand. But the air changes. You can feel it, the weight of something personal entering a public space. Ever feel a crowd hold its breath at the same time? What would you give to keep a promise to a fallen friend? The soldier takes a step toward the stage, and Elvis keeps singing. Halfway through Love Me Tender, the soldier moves. Row A parts like water. The audience doesn't boo or cheer, they just watch. Every eye follows the man in green as he inches forward, clutching something that glints in the stage light. Claudette Reeves, the floor usher, steps from the aisle. Her headset crackles. Security, front left. But by the time she reaches him, he's already at the lip of the stage. Elvis notices first the uniform, then the trembling hand, then what lies inside it. Two dog tags, dull silver, a thin chain curled tight like a question mark. He keeps singing, voice softer now. Love me tender, love me true. The soldier extends his hand. Elvis leans down, takes the chain carefully, as if it might break. Cold metal pools in his palm. The raised letters catch a bit of spotlight. SBC Thomas Hale. The soldier whispers, barely audible through the mic. He never made it back. He loved you, sir. The words hang there. Then silence. The band falters. The guitar drifts off key. A trumpet sighs and stops. The only sound left is the click of a camera shutter somewhere in the back. Elvis blinks hard, staring at the tags. He lifts his head toward the crowd but doesn't speak. Then, quietly, into the mic, "Cut the music." Shock ripples through the Hilton showroom. 20,000 voices vanish in an instant. The crowd that came to scream now sits frozen, waiting for a cue that doesn't come. Security edges closer. Claudette raises a hand. "It's okay." Elvis turns slightly, palm open, "Stand down." He looks back at the tags, turning them over with a thumb. On the back, faint pencil lines. July 4th, Playku. Play Love Me Tender, for me, brother. The audience can't see the writing, but they sense it. The hush feels heavier now, almost sacred. Elvis swallows. "What's your name, son?" "Jacob Morales." "You served." "Yes, sir." A long beat. Elvis's gaze drops again to the name on the medal. Then he slips the chain over his fingers, holds it up to the light. Somewhere in the back row, a woman sobs once. Just one sharp sound, and the whole room tilts toward her grief. Elvis takes a breath that seems to steady the air itself. "He loved music?" "He said it got him through," Morales answers. For a moment, the singer and the soldier just stand there. Two men, two worlds, linked by two small pieces of metal. Then Elvis nods. "We'll take care of him tonight." He lays the tags gently on the mic stand. They clink against steel, click. The sound echoes like a heartbeat in the quiet. What do you sing when words can't carry the weight? What's a performer's duty, to the show or to the story behind those tags? Elvis looks toward his band. His voice low but firm. "Boys, we're changing the plan." And the audience leans forward, knowing they are about to witness something no setlist ever held. Elvis turns the tags once more, seeing that pencil date, and something in his face changes forever. The tags rest on the mic stand, still swaying from Elvis's hand. They catch the light like two small suns. The crowd doesn't dare move. The Hilton showroom, usually a storm of clinking glasses and laughter, now feels like a church built from neon and hush. Elvis studies the faint grease pencil scrawl on the back of the tag. July 4th, Playku. Play Love Me Tender, for me, brother. A date, promise written in field dirt. The war feels closer than anyone expected. He breathes out slow, shoulders rising beneath the white jumpsuit. The colonel, in the wings, folds his arms, furious. Time is bleeding. The gamblers are restless. The show's order is broken. But the crowd isn't complaining, they're waiting. Something in them already knows this night won't be like any other. Elvis kneels down a little, looking right into Sergeant Morales's eyes. "What was his favorite?" he asks quietly. "Any gospel, sir." Elvis nods. "Then that's what he'll get." He stands again, walks to the edge of the stage, and looks out over the people. Tourists, waitresses, bellhops, soldiers home on leave. Every face turned toward him. He can feel the weight of 20,000 stories pressed into one moment. The sweet inspirations glance at each other. Glenn Hardin hovers at the piano, hands poised but unsure. James Burton whispers, "Key of G." Elvis just says, "Hold it, slow." In the dim light, the soldier's uniform gleams dull green. The tags glint from the mic like they're listening too. A low hum fills the room, the sound of breathing, hundreds of lungs holding back sound. Even the ice in glasses has stopped shifting. Then Elvis says softly, "We're taking a different road tonight." His voice cracks the silence. He steps back to center stage. The colonel motions to restart the set. Elvis ignores him. He lifts his eyes toward the ceiling lights, then down again to the crowd. There's tension in every inch of the room, between order and heart, routine and risk. If he goes off script, he risks the show, the critics, the image. But if he stays the same, he betrays the meaning behind that soldier's promise. He glances at Morales one more time. "Tell me about him," Elvis says. Morales hesitates, voice shaking. "Tom Hale. He played guitar in our unit. Said if he ever made it home, he'd see you live." Elvis nods again. "Then he's home tonight." The audience feels it before it happens. The shift from performance to prayer. The lights dim slightly, shadows growing soft around him. What happens when a concert stops being entertainment and starts being remembrance? If you were Elvis, would you risk everything to honor one name? He takes one final breath, turns toward his band, and whispers, "Let's give him gospel." And as the first low chord rises from the piano, the Hilton showroom, the same room built for money, music, and noise, suddenly feels like a chapel. "Boys, G slow. Keep it bare." Elvis's voice cuts through the stillness. The band nods. Fingers tremble over strings, waiting for his lead. "No que lights, no fanfare. Just breath." He lowers the mic, head bowed. The first note of How Great Thou Art rolls out like thunder wrapped in silk. The Hilton crowd, built on noise and neon, forgets how to move. 20,000 people. Utter silence. Elvis's eyes close. He doesn't perform, he pleads. The words leave his mouth heavy. "Sacred. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee." In the second verse, he slides seamlessly into "Love Me Tender," soft and trembling, threading it like a whisper through the hymn. The two songs merge, the sacred and the personal, until you can't tell them apart. He reaches for the dog tags, resting on the mic stand. They clink once against the steel, click, and stay there, swaying gently in rhythm with his breath. The soldier stands at attention. The usher, Claudette Reeves, presses a hand to her heart. A gambler in the back wipes his eyes with a napkin, pretending it's sweat. The room becomes one pulse, one voice held inside 1,000 throats. The Hilton showroom, built for profit, transforms into a cathedral built for memory. Elvis's voice cracks once. He doesn't hide it. He lets the pain live in the note. Every vowel feels like a goodbye. When he hits the final line, "How great thou art," he doesn't belt it. He barely exhales it. The chain swings against the mic again. Click. So faint you could miss it. But you feel it. The music stops. He doesn't take the applause. Instead, he raises one hand. "Please," he says softly. "Let's stay quiet for a moment." The crowd obeys. No one moves, no one coughs. Even the air seems afraid to stir. The hush stretches long enough to feel eternal. Then Elvis whispers, almost to himself, "That was for him, and for all of them." Can music carry names we can't say without breaking? Can silence be louder than the song itself? He steps back from the mic. The spotlight narrows. The tags still sway. In that tiny circle of light, you can see the moisture glinting at the corner of his eyes. For a second, the king of rock and roll looks like a man carrying the whole weight of someone else's promise. He takes one shaky breath, nods once, and murmurs, "Not done yet." The final chord fades into silence, but Elvis doesn't move. The band waits for the next cue. It never comes. Instead, he turns, gestures to Charlie Hodge near the wings. "Charlie," he says quietly, "bring me a marker and paper." The crowd exchanges glances. A murmur spreads, confused, respectful, curious. Hodge hurries forward with a black felt pen and a stack of programs. Elvis kneels beside the mic stand where the dog tags still hang. He writes something on the top page. Then, raising his voice so it carries through the still air, he says, "If you served, if you lost someone, send their names forward." Takes a second for the words to land. Then the movement begins. One person writes on a napkin. Another tears a page from her notebook. A man in uniform scrawls across a drink coaster. Soon the whole room is writing names, initials, nicknames, call signs. Ushers rush between tables, carrying the scraps like holy notes, stacking them on the stage edge. Elvis picks up the first one. "Private Alan James," he reads softly. The room answers, "Present." He reads another.
Sergent Michael L. Carter.
Again, the echo, "Present." It spreads through the room like a wave. The crowd isn't watching anymore, they're participating. Every name becomes a beat, every echo a rhythm. The Hilton showroom turns into a living roll call. A mother in section 3 weeps quietly. Pit boss removes his hat. One of the sweet inspirations holds Charlie Hodge's hand. Even the colonel in the shadows can't bring himself to interrupt. When the pile grows high, Elvis places the pen down. He unclasps the golden cross from his neck, the one he never takes off, and loops the soldier's dog tags over it. "They share the same chain tonight," he says softly. The crowd stands almost instinctively. No one tells them to. He looks across the sea of faces, misty under the spotlights. "This isn't just about music anymore," he says. "It's about memory." And for the first time that night, the Hilton, home of roulette wheels and flashing neon, feels like a sanctuary built from compassion. He looks back to the soldier in the front row. "Red Morales," he says gently. "Your brother's not forgotten." Morales salutes, tears streaking down his face. Elvis nods to the lighting tech. "Kill the lights," he says. "Leave one on." Everything goes dark except the single beam on the mic. The tags shimmer in it, swinging softly, two tiny stars above a sea of silence. When does a concert stop being about a star and start being about us? When strangers decide to carry each other's names. The chain sways. The crowd exhales. Something invisible has changed forever. The Hilton is dark except for one beam of light. It catches the mic stand, the dog tags, and Elvis's face. Shining, damp with sweat and something deeper than exhaustion. No music. No noise. Just stillness. Then, a single whisper. "Red, come up here." Sergeant Jacob Red Morales hesitates, shaking his head, but the crowd urges him forward. He climbs the steps slowly, boots heavy on the riser. Elvis extends his hand, steady and warm. "These aren't mine to keep," Elvis says, nodding at the tags, "but I'll carry them till sunrise." He slips the chain into his jumpsuit pocket, over his heart. A small gasp moves through the audience. He picks up the folded set list from the floor, creases it carefully, and signs it with a marker. "To the family of SPC Thomas Hale, with love and gratitude, Elvis Presley." He looks to Red. "I'll send this to his folks tomorrow. You'll help me?" Red nods, speechless. From the wings, the Hilton's general manager leans in. Elvis whispers something. The man freezes, then gives a single nod before disappearing backstage. Seconds later, Elvis raises the mic again. "That boy's name," he says, voice steady, "deserves more than applause. So tonight, every dollar I make goes to start something new, the Service Song Fund. For families who gave what we can't repay." The crowd erupts, not with cheers, but with soundless emotion. A few clap, others simply bow their heads. Elvis looks back at his band. "Let's take it home right." The sweet inspirations step forward. Gentle harmonies rise. "We'll understand it better by and by." Their voices blend like candlelight, soft and endless. Elvis joins on the second verse, his tone fragile but strong enough to hold the room together. Morales stands beside him, hands clasped. The audience hums along, filling the darkness with warmth. No one records on film that night, just a few bootleg tapes and one whispered memory that still circulates among fans. The sound of dog tags faintly tapping the mic, keeping time with the hymn. When the last chord fades, Elvis takes a step back, breath shuddering. He looks to the ceiling, whispers, "Thank you." The silence after is enormous. Then a sob breaks it. A gambler in the fourth row, tough as nails, covers his face. The sound echoes through the showroom, raw and human. For a moment, the world feels weightless, held together by a single act of grace. What would you build from one moment of sorrow? Elvis built a promise and kept it. Morning breaks over the Las Vegas Strip, pale light spilling across the Hilton's glass facade. The marquees still flash Elvis. Live tonight, but inside, something feels different, like the air itself remembers. By noon, word has spread. Radio DJs replay shaky bootleg audio from the night before. You can hear it clearly, the faint click of metal against the mic, the breathless hush that followed. Collectors would later call it the silence tape. Newspapers run the story with grainy photos. Elvis, head bowed, the tags glinting on his chest. The headline reads, "The King stops the show for a soldier's promise." Talk shows mention it, pastors quote it. Even cynical reporters call it a moment of grace under the neon. And then something bigger. Within 24 hours, the Hilton announces the Service Song Fund, officially launched with Elvis's personal donation. Checks flood in. Soldiers' families send letters by the hundreds. A widow from Kansas writes, "I didn't think anyone remembered his name. Now they all do." The total climbs fast, 7 figures within a week. A plaque is mounted behind the Hilton's main curtain, simple and silver. "For the ones we carried, Las Vegas Hilton, Winter 1976. That plaque is still there today, tarnished but untouched. Backstage, Joe Esposito finds Elvis sitting alone after a later show. The jumpsuit collar open, a folded paper in his hands. It's the list of names from that night, creased, smudged, worn soft at the edges. He keeps it in his wallet beside a small crayon drawing from his daughter Lisa Marie, both held together with a paper clip. He never talks about it publicly, never repeats the story, but crew members notice. After that night, the gospel section in his set list always grows longer. Radio callers keep asking, "Were you there? Did you hear him stop the world for a minute?" A bootleg copy of that show starts circulating among fans, titled "For Thomas." They say when you listen close, you can hear the lighters flick open, the crowd whispering "present" after every name. Years later, a woman named Marilyn Hale, Thomas's sister, writes to Graceland. She says she used to dream of her brother calling for help in the jungle. After hearing that tape, the dream stopped. "It sounded like he got his song," she wrote. "What lingers longer, the hit or the hush that follows it?" The answer is still echoing in that room. Some say if you stand near the Hilton's old stage after closing hours, you can hear a faint metallic click in the ceiling speakers, like 2 dog tags gently meeting. Maybe it's feedback, or maybe it's memory, refusing to fade. Sometimes the bravest note is the one you stop to hold. Elvis knew that now. He'd built a life on applause, flashbulbs, and sound. But that night proved silence could mean more than any encore ever could. In the years that followed, fans tried to label what happened at the Hilton. Some called it the dog tag night. Others just said it was the moment Elvis stopped performing and started listening. But to those who were there, it wasn't about fame or music. It was about remembrance. About one man pausing the machine of show business to let 20,000 strangers feel what one soldier had carried alone. Elvis kept that folded list until the end. Inside his wallet, behind family photos, it stayed, creased from being opened, damp from the touch of his hand. The ink faded, but the memory didn't. Every time he took the stage afterward, something small changed. He lingered longer on gospel tunes. He read more letters from fans. And during Love Me Tender, he always turned his head slightly toward stage left, where Sergeant Morales had stood. It wasn't superstition. It was gratitude. In 1977, when the Service Song Fund passed its first million, a small ceremony was held near Graceland's gates. Veterans, widows, and children gathered under the Tennessee sun. Someone read the names from that Hilton list aloud. They ended with one word: present. There was no press, no cameras, just people holding each other. A plaque from that fund still exists today in a veteran center outside Nashville. The inscription reads, "Inspired by a promise kept under neon light, the legend of that night has taken on a life of its own." Some say it was the first time they saw Elvis cry on stage. Others say the sound of those dog tags changed the way he sang forever. But the truth lies in something smaller, the way he carried them close to his heart until morning, like a vow. A man with a microphone can bend the night toward mercy. A crowd of strangers can become a family by speaking the names. The dog tags were only metal, yes, but in Elvis's hands they were more than that. They were proof that music could hold grief, love, and memory all at once. Who would you name if the mic found you? What promise have you been carrying, waiting for someone to hear? The chain clicked once against the mic that night, and then silence. But that silence never truly ended. It still hums quietly in the hearts of those who believe that kindness, once sung, never fades. If the story moved you, share it with someone who still believes in the power of music to heal. Maybe they remember where they were when Elvis sang for the fallen. And if you ever find yourself under a bright stage light, remember to hold the silence, too.